Review of Fishing Planet for the PlayStation. Yes, this game is free, believe it or not, and honestly, it's probably one of the best games that I've played so far. The one thing it can be is pretty time consuming, and sometimes it can get expensive. But without further ado, we are going to head up to Alaska. Here, I have purchased a day's pass to go up there. It'll cost you about $3 on the PlayStation Store. But you know what? If you want to rank up quick and gain a good decent amount of cash fairly quickly within a couple hours, this is your best bet, and that is the way to go. So yesterday I was ranked at about 16, I'd say, and now I'm up to 28, and this has been pretty much the only spot that I've been fishing. So before I even go, you want to make sure you have all of your stuff set up to fish this place properly. So I will go and head over to my inventory, and this is what I usually roll with. So I have the Cosmocast 7-foot 3-inch rod here, special edition, and for the reel I have the Vortex 7000. The Cosmocast, the line weight can handle between 55 pounds, but you can push it. And for the Vortex reel, max drag 33 pounds, but sometimes you can push that as well. Pretty much that's all you need. The line I got set up, I believe it is 33 pounds. We'll go double check here. 35, okay. So yeah, see it, the max drag is 33, but I use 35, so it'll work. And I usually have no problem ever setting a good sized salmon here whenever I use it, so it shouldn't be an issue. What I will do is I will show you what I have done so far. We'll head over to leaderboards and go over to my fish, and biggest one I caught was a 68 pounder. I brought in around like $4,500 just for that fish alone, and that's a unique, so it's a good way to go. When you head up to Alaska, it's probably the best place you'll fish for the money's worth anyway. One day it'll cost you about 10 grand to go up there, but if you take your time and be patient, you'll make close to 20 grand. So without further ado, we'll head out there. There are 3 places to go, but my favorite place is you head over to Hunter's Cabin, and it's right down the way here. You'll see where I go. As you can see, when I was last time here, I caught a 63-pound unique. So we're going to walk down a little bit more, and you'll see this first patch of rocks here. Yeah, it says I don't have assembled the rod, but I'll assemble it once I get over to the spot. You could go ahead right over into the water, and we're going to go up to this one right here. I'm going to equip my rod here. We're going to go with, since I do not have the level to get the other spoons, usually I'll roll with the single spoon, 1.5 ounce, and it's the one that you can get right in the shop here. It's this one right here. So there's a couple places I like to go. Sometimes I like to go right on the furthest edge, kind of right here behind this rock. And then another one that's pretty useful is go right down here. I'll say there's about 3 or 4 spots I like to cast towards. During during the daytime, midday, you'll be able to see without the fog. But that dark tree that's right ahead of us there, I like to cast near that. In between, in the corner, and sometimes you'll get lucky a little bit further down. But I'm actually going to start on this side. So I like to cast out as far as I can here. And the best technique is usually stop and go. But I like to just, reel it in nice and slow a little bit towards the beginning because I don't tend to usually get much past 100 feet. So we'll just straight reel this here. And once I get to around 90 to 80 feet, that's when I go with the stop and go. So I like to hit the bottom, come up a little bit, let it drop, and then hit back up again. And repeat that technique over and over again. And they'll hit fairly quickly. Sometimes they'll sneak up on you and just kind of tease the lure a little bit. And that's when you just got to set the hook. So right there, I just lowered the reel speed. And as I get a little bit closer, take my time. And don't be afraid to reel all the way in here, because there's some times where I'll hit something right there. Sometimes it's even right here, which is less than 10 feet out. And once you see them, sometimes you'll reel in slow, and you'll see a fish appear right next to your lure. Right then and there, just stop reeling, or just kind of tap R2 just the slightest bit, just to move it so you don't scare him away. And usually he'll hit right then and there. I won't talk too much during this gameplay, just so I know sometimes it can get annoying listening to someone just kind of constantly talk over the video, so I'll just let you guys watch the gameplay. And yeah. What I will say is the peak for the day is close to 6, 7 o'clock, but sometimes you can get lucky early in the morning, so that's why I tend to just fish it and be patient. As you can see here, my line got snagged on the bottom of the river here, so what I do is just, tighten up your drag, and with this strong line and rod and reel, you usually don't have an issue pulling it right out. Pointing down, looking to see if a fish is going to come up and creep on me. Nope. Like I said, be patient. It'll come when you least expect it. Sometimes they'll hit when you're straight reeling it, but they usually tend to be smaller fish, so I don't really do it too much. Like I said, let it bounce up and down on the ground, and as it comes up, they will, when it's coming up or when it's going down, that's when they usually strike. Slow down my reel. Patience is key with this game. Like the title of the game says, Fishing Planet Fishing Simulator. It simulates real life fishing, so don't let it deter you from getting hooked to the game. But once you, no pun intended, but once you reel in a big guy, you'll see how good it is. There's been times I've come up here to Alaska and throw a first cast out and I'll reel something in, and then there's been times where I'll sit out here for an hour. Nope, I thought I had something nibbling. Sometimes I'll sit out here for an hour and don't get anything, so. Towards the end, be patient, wait for something to come up. Sometimes it will. What I've noticed about this game, though, ever since I've downloaded it, is it's a very decent game, but there's some things that the producers need to fix. For instance, the chat down here, it'll double text, or there's been some times where I go to equip a reel to a rod or line to a reel, and all of a sudden the reel or the rod disappears and says, "Oh, rod or reel needs to be equipped first," and then you go to do it again, it just won't do it. But I guess the one cool thing about this, though, is that the game autosaves. So so if something were to happen like that, you can just go ahead and close the application, and then reboot it back up, and then it'll you could pick back up where you left off. As you can see in the bottom right hand corner, I change up the speeds once I go to stop and go, because I feel like the one speed, it takes too long for the lure to come back up off of the bottom. So just to make it quicker, give the lure a little bit more action, I like to just speed it up a little bit. As I get closer, slow it back down. And once I land one, I'll show you guys a little trick on how to bring them in a little bit faster. But note, I do have a strong rod and reel. Here, I'll show you now. Seems like a small fish. Yeah, it's a small fish. But the one trick I usually do if I have a big fish is I just, don't reel in, maybe just hold L2 down, lift the rod, and I can pretty much walk back and the fish will just swim right on shore. Just as I did there. 15-pounder. She's small, but I will keep her for the money. So in the top left-hand corner, you could see, the time, what day, temperature, and stuff like that. But then below it, you see where it says Fish 4S Plus. That is the type of keep net I have, and it was very expensive. But what it does is it allows me to obviously keep more fish once I do bring them in. So here, this keep net, here I gotta go back to inventory. Fish keeper. So maximum single fish weight is 77 pounds, but the total weight I can keep is 264.5 pounds. So I can pretty much fish here all day and keep tons of fish, and by the time I fill up the fish keeper, I'm making close to 20 grand. Like I said, be patient. It'll come to you when you least expect it. Sooner or later, I'll have a fish come up real close to me and bite my lures, so hopefully that'll happen, but if not, it is what it is. So I can show you how close they do come and bite them. Sometimes you can straight reel. Like I said before, I don't tend to do it because it brings in the smaller fish. Yeah, let me go in. I'm gonna plug in my mic. It's just said battery low, so give me 1 second here. Alright, back in business. What I'm gonna do actually is change my settings. I want to change this to the pro status here. I like this better. But for a free game, the graphics ain't too bad. I don't know if you guys could have heard that in the background, but there's a bear growling. Which is pretty cool. And we're getting close to peak time. Peak is usually around 6:30, 7 o'clock. So hopefully we can snag up a couple more. What also works really well here is a crankbait, but I found the spoon to be a little bit more useful, probably because I've used it more, but I've only caught 2 fish on the crankbait, so I'm just going to stick with the spoon for now. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? You know what, how about this? If I don't get anything on this cast, I will switch over to a crankbait for like 10 or so casts. What's up, dude? So yeah, Playboy, I'm here doing this live stream with this the free downloadable game Fishing Planet. It's not bad, got me hooked. Like I was saying before, make sure to reel all the way in. Slow down your reel speed once you get closer to shore, just so you're not hitting the top of the water. Well, this is just for the people that don't have the game yet, or just kind of people who just downloaded it. So, yeah, I'm starting to get there. I think I'm a level 28, so I've only been playing for like 3 or 4 days. But here I'll switch over to a crank and try it out. It does take practice. That is true. When I first got the game, within the first hour, I couldn't even catch a freaking fish because what is it? I had the drag all the way open, and I was wondering why the hell he was taking my lure like 400 and some odd feet, and I couldn't reel him in, and the fish was only like a pound or so. But you should have saw me. I was flipping the fuck out. But for the people who haven't played this game, don't be afraid to, use the chat and talk to people who have played it. They'll give you some tips and tricks, which I have done along the way, almost every single map. There we go. Just a little guy. I'll go with a couple more casts with the crank. Usually this has only brought me small fish, so we'll just keep trying with this for a couple more, and then I'll switch back over to the spoon. No, I'm not gonna. Not with the crankbait. I'm not gonna jig. It pretty much defeats the purpose because the crank's already smacking the bottom and coming up on its own. So there's no point of jigging. Depending on how fast or slow I reel with the crankbait, it'll sometimes bounce up off the bottom, sometimes it won't. So I just kind of play around with it, see what it's doing right now. That's kind of what I want. You see it'll stay at the bottom, then I'll just speed up my reel. But fuck it, we're gonna head back over to the spoon. I just got here to Alaska and spent the 10 grand, so I'm gonna stay here for a little bit. But I like going here. I like going to Florida and New York for the pike. Or down to I think it's Louisiana. I like to fish the catfish down there. Or you go over to Florida, and there's this one spot I like to fish for the tarpon. But I found most useful with this is the stop and go with the spoon. Let it ride the bottom for a little bit and bring it up. Yeah, you gotta literally, for the tarpon, you gotta sit in that spot for like a good half an hour, at least half an hour, before you even get a nibble for the tarpon at least. And they're in deep water. You're talking like 150 feet out. But once I hook another one, if I get a good one, the tarpon, yeah, you depending on what kind of rod and reel setup you got. The one I got is pretty easy to bring them in kind of quickly, but depending on which ones you have, you'll fight a good one for close to like 10 minutes or so. Make sure you have a lot of fucking line on your reel, because that thing will take you for a ride. Especially if your rod can't handle the amount of test you have for your line. Come on, give me a little something here. First, what is it? I bought like $15 worth of, since the game was free, pretty much I was looking to buy a new game anyway, so I used whatever money I was gonna buy for an actual video game and just put it towards this for the coins. I only spent 15 bucks though, so I got like 600 coins or something like that, and I used some of that money to buy a day to come up here to Alaska. And if you have a good size fishing net or a keep net or whatever, you can fish here for a couple hours and you'll get like 20 grand for a day. But earlier I was here and I left with, I think a day's worth, I left with 18 grand, yeah. Yep, here it'll cost you, I think it's 2 grand to stay. We'll check this peak. It should be close. Yeah, I'm about to hit the peak right now, so. Come on, give me something. But if you haven't fished here yet, like I was telling whoever decides to watch this again, make sure you reel in all the way, because most of my, I think I've caught close to like 5 unique fish. Most of them were less than 30 feet away, so. That one was 19, but that's a small fish, I think. Yeah, only 12 pounds. Yeah, as soon as he leaves, that's when I reel in a fish. That's funny. But that's alright for whoever wants to watch once the video is concluded. I did catch a fish. I think it was at like 33 minutes, so. I think I caught one around 17 and then 33 minutes. What I noticed is actually not many people play this game. I think it's kind of underestimated. At least if you like fishing, it is a good game to play. Gives you a little bit of knowledge and insight on what to do when you actually go out fishing in the real world. Know what can work and how to use it. But I am hitting the peak period right about now, so I should be reeling some in fairly soon. Don't let a snag discourage you from reeling your line in all the way. Try out a little bit further here. I'm hoping in this video I can get up in the 30, 40, 50, 60 range, hopefully. But it's all about patience. Come on. It's been a while. Give me something. Try a little bit left more. Give me 1 second. Oh, looks like a baby. Yeah, it's a little one again. Jesus. Seems like I'm catching these fish every 10 minutes. Literally every 10 minutes. Patience, patience, patience. We're at the peak time, so I'm sorry if I'm not talking too much. You know, I don't like to talk too much during the gameplay. Just like I said before, it kind of gets annoying, so. Sometimes I'm watching a live stream or something, and I'm like, dude, just shut up and play. He doesn't have to commentate on everything he does. I'll only really talk whenever I feel like there's something important to say. It seems like a decent sized fish, I guess. Yeah, not bad. 36 pounds. And the money's where it's at. 2,400, almost $2,500 just for a single fish. I'll take it. See exactly what I mean there. He came in less than 12 feet or less than 15 feet. You just play with him a little bit and they'll come up and strike it. Look at that, 58 pounds, unique. Almost 4 grand for that one fish alone. I'll go and shake in this guy's face a little bit. See what I mean? You just, be patient, wait for it to come in, reel a little bit slower, and you'll see the fish appear, and he won't strike away right away. So you just kind of let it sit there, maybe just tap R2 once, and then most of the time he'll go and strike that thing right then and there. And he wasn't too, like you guys saw, he wasn't too far away, maybe a little bit more than 10 feet out. And we are at peak time right now, so be patient, reel all the way in. That's what I found works a lot, is some people, like when you make sure you reel all the way in, a lot of people don't do that, and they actually miss out on some good opportunities. Like I said earlier in the video, most of my uniques were under 30 feet. Just like real fishing, patience is a virtue, so. Let's see if we can snag another big one. Don't ride the bottom too much. You want the lure to be more on the bottom half rather than on the bottom. I'll end this video in about 10 minutes or so. I don't want to keep it too long. I think I caught, what, 3 fish? Maybe 4, I don't remember. Sometimes I do better, sometimes I do worse. This is about a little bit on average, maybe a little bit less than average on what you usually do on a normal day here. Here goes another one. Yep. Wasn't that far off. 35 pounds. Let's see what I got so far. Seven fish. Not too bad. All of them over a grand each except for one. He's only a little 12 pounder, but not too bad. 1200 for about an hour gameplay. It's not bad. Or 12,000. All my bigger fish have been less than 30 feet. Yeah, I'm gonna end this video in about 5 minutes or so. Get 1 or 2 more casts out and just see what happens. Yeah, this is gonna be my last cast out. And then I'm gonna call it a day here. Just because it's pretty late where I am right now. It's almost 2 in the morning. And not many of you know I'm in the Marine Corps and we have formation. Honestly, I don't even know what time. I gotta check my phone. There we go. He's a decent sized fish too. A little trick I found is you don't reel in, just walk all the way back to one spot or wherever opposite of the fish is, and watch he'll swim himself right on shore. Just like that. That's a good sized fish right there. 67 pounds. That's a good way to end the day right there. It's my second biggest fish I think ever. I haven't fished with this guy in Alaska almost all day, so it's a good way to end the day right there. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it right there, and just want to thank all you guys for tuning in. It's my first live broadcast on PlayStation Fishing Planet. It's a free game. Go ahead, download it. It'll get you hooked. So I'll show you guys what I ended with for the day. $17,000 worth of fish. I don't know about you, but I'd say that's a pretty good day. And you know what? The day isn't even over here. But I'm going to go and end the stream here. Like I said before, thank you guys for tuning in. And hopefully I'll catch you guys soon. Alright.